That was our little comical relief there from Road Glide Andy. Good job, Road Glide Andy, this morning to start the show off. And funny thing is, Road Glide Andy, and I'm going to tell you a little backstory here before we get started. Road Glide Andy actually got all those tires off his motorcycle, his front and his back wheel off. And the reason it's sitting there, that bike is still sitting there right now. It's been a month, and he can't figure out how to put them back on. Anyway, let's get started here this morning. Good morning and welcome back, everybody, once again to another Coffee with HDR. Cheers, grab your beverage, and sit back and relax and enjoy an hour of power. Here for Saturday morning, this is show number 114, Saturday, March the 18th, 2023. And we're going to get rolling here with our good mornings to everybody in the chat room. Let me just take a sip of coffee here to get started. Oh, that's good stuff. Good stuff here in the mornings, huh? Good way to get started. Get a little bit caffeinated. All right, let's get up here and get started. Good morning to Smyrna Cowboy in the house there once again. Ron Kelly, Road Glide Andy, Toby Northern's in the house there as the producer. Let's see here. Ron Kelly, Captain Ed, HDAV Traveler, Debbie or Mallory's in the house. Good morning to Debbie there this morning and Mallory. Chuck Henson's in the house. Danny is in here. Good morning, HDR and friends. Hope everybody are doing well. So far, so good. Dusty Chronicles. Ty from Tennessee is in the house. Dean C. Chuck Henson. Pete's 1800. Getting ready for that amazing trip coming up here not too far off. Patrick Orvis. Good morning, Patrick from Connecticut. Good morning. Nice to have you in there on board with us this morning. The Real Jackie Boy's in the house from up high in the Pennsylvania mountains. Throttle Therapy, good morning to you. Pink's Adventures in the house. Pink's Adventures had a wonderful video out. He was riding his Honda ADV motorcycle up and over and through the trails and through the woods. Man, that looked brilliant. Absolutely wonderful video. He did put a disclaimer in there that it was shot during the summer. That's kind of nice to do that because people will say, oh, your trees are so green this time of year because I don't know why they do that. Anyway, let's see here. WS Keys on threes in the house. Guns and Rides, how good morning to you. Rocky J. Buck Brown. Payne's Rides in the house. Let's see. I'm fresh back from an unbelievable riding experience in Mohabit, Utah. It's actually Moab, Utah. And I don't know why I haven't seen any videos, Pinks. I don't know why we haven't seen those yet, but I'm sure they are coming up here very soon. Let's see here. Real Jackie Boy, HTV Traveler, Patrick Orvis. Oh, now you're in Massachusetts. Very nice area. I love Massachusetts. It's a wonderful state. We were there a few times already. Big Mike's Excellent Adventures. Good morning to Big Mike's Excellent Adventures. Glad to have you on board here with us this morning. Harley 103's in the house. Tex Rides in there this morning. Good morning to Tex Rides. Got a lot of great people in here this morning. A lot of new names coming through. And man, I do appreciate you stopping by here to enjoy some coffee with HDR on this freezing. Bob Nelson, good morning. Freezing cold morning. Man. You know, you get one day out there, you jump on the bike, you take a nice ride, right? You take a rip through the countryside. And next day it's snowing. It's Pennsylvania weather, you know. We know this in Pennsylvania how it goes. And Coffee with HDR is taking over. I don't know about taking over the world, but hey, we are here every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It proves it. 114 shows, so you know it's a regular event. You can jump in here Saturday morning and talk about motorcycles, and that's what we're going to do today. Big Mike's Adventures is from southwestern Pennsylvania here. Mike, you must be pretty close to me. Just back from Daytona Bike Week, man. I bet you had a brilliant time in Daytona, man. I wish I could make that event some year. I only have like 6 more years to retirement. Once I retire, I'm sure I'll jump on the old 2 wheels and I'll be heading to Daytona, man, because then I'll be free to do what I want to do. And I think that's pretty amazing stuff, right? Every day's an adventure. 58 and light rain today there in Georgia. Georgia fine line. Yeah, so I yawned. I'm sorry. I've been up since about 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. And it's grade week at the school. So what does that mean? That just simply means that all of our grades got to be up to date and put into the grade book because the report cards are coming out. And I'm sure everybody will be just happy as can be. But hey, that's that. That's work. I don't like to talk about work on Saturday morning. I like to talk about you guys. What are you doing out there? And I like to talk about motorcycles, right? And riding. That's what we're here for. Glenn and Rendell, good morning. Nice to have you on board there. 41 and cloudy in Massachusetts. Road Glide Andy said, so since it's so cold, you coming over to help me get my tires back on. I can't figure out how they go. Yeah, see, Road Glide Andy, a lot of times he wants to put the front on the back and the back on the front. He gets them mixed up. And I told him not the sprocket, the belt drive goes on the back, right? He keeps putting it on the front because he wants a front wheel drive motorcycle. Go figure. I guess it'll go better in the snow, right? A front wheel drive motorcycle. Would that not be an invention? Huh. I shouldn't have said that because I should build that in the garage. That might be something I need to look into doing. Not far from Brian and Mrs. Barb live. Okay, I don't know where that's at. Got the wheelchair ramp down last week. Smarty Cowboy, yay. Good for you, brother. Good for you. Windrow Therapy's in the house. And I'm glad Windrow Therapy's here because her and Toby actually messaged me. So I'm going to be a guest on their Support Bikers show that they do, their live show. And I'm sure they'll put the date in here. I do have it on my phone somewhere here. Probably can pull it up there because I told Mrs. HDR, hey, put that in the calendar. She said, how can I remember your events? She said, you need to remember your events. It's going to be on March 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing a Support Bikers live show. And funny thing they asked me to talk about. They asked me to talk about a couple subjects before. I did do one with them a while back. But the one they asked me to do, I kind of don't know anything much about it. It's about live streaming. Guys, I've been live streaming since 2005, and it used to be a really hard time back then. It is so easy to live stream today. The biggest two things with live stream, well, three things, right? The video, proper lighting. I got all kind of light going on in the room. I got some blue light in the background, and absolutely proper audio, right? You have to get audio. You don't want a big delay, so you have to have really good high-speed internet to do some live streaming. But, man, they're going to cover it all. I'm sure they have a bunch of questions for me, and I was just so happy to be asked to be on that show because I do know a lot about live streaming. Obviously, I've been doing it for a long, long time. So that is really, really nice to hear. Larry, good morning to you. Real Jackie boy. Let's see. B, the Rider PA's in the house. Good morning. Still 35 here in southwestern Pennsylvania. But next week, looks like some great time for riding. Yeah, the weather is starting to actually change slowly. I mean, we got, 2 more days until actual spring. Now, the problem with that is nobody ever seems to call Mother Nature and say, hey, turn the snow and the cold off. It's springtime. So Mother Nature likes to play little tricks on us, right? I think I told you guys one time before, many, 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 many years ago, I was a small lad growing up in a small village in Washington, Pennsylvania. It's a little village. And I've taken you there before. Go back and watch all my videos from my past videos. I've taken you to my childhood home in a little village in Washington, Pennsylvania. And my dad came to me one day and he said, excuse me, small lad. I said, yes, father. Let's go to the first day of trout season today. It was April 15th. Yes, father, let me get my pole and my boots and let me get my tackle. And we shall go on this journey fishing. So we go out fishing. It was not a bad morning. A little crisp, a little cold in the air. And we're sitting there on the bank, and we're waiting for 8 o'clock to arrive. And all of a sudden, this white, unusual stuff started falling from the sky. And I said, Father, what is that white, unusual stuff falling from the sky? And he said, well, lad, he said, that would be snow. And I said, but Father, it's springtime. It's April. Why is this so? And he said, because you live in Pennsylvania. That's what he said. It snowed like crazy Our poles are covered. Our bobbers were covered. I was covered. My dad was covered. I said, Dad, we should go home. It's getting very cold out here. He said, Son, you can go sit in the car and turn it on and get warm if you want. This is fishing. My dad would not leave the lake for anything. Once those poles are in the water, unless he caught his limit, we are staying at the lake. And that's what we did. We stayed at the lake. So the village must be missing someone. Yes, the village is now missing a lot of someones because our whole entire clan, our family, which is a clan, right? We're pack animals, has moved away from the village. We have gone from the village and we are now living in the great metropolis, right? The great metropolis of Burgestown, Pennsylvania. Uh, Actually, it's a smaller city than well, it's not even a city. It's a smaller town than Washington. Okay, so anyhow, but that was my little story. So the small village of HDRville. There you go, Ty from Tennessee. We now live in the small village, quaint little village of HDRville. Here in HDRville, we have a wonderful group of people living around us. They all say hi, they all wave, and as you sit on the front porch smoking your pipe, you can give a little wave to them as they're driving by, and sometimes they drive, sometimes they do a beep beep, they do a little honk. But it is a nice little HDRville. I like that saying, HDRville. HDR Villa. 2 more days and spring officially starts, Rogue Glad Andy said. And that's what I said. Too bad nobody ever tells Mother Nature when spring starts. So it's going to be cold up until, it looked like Tuesday. It might be like 55 or so. And I came home the other day from work. And Miss HR, it was like 56, 57. She said, you going for a ride? But the night before, guys, I had a very sleepless night. I don't know why. Probably because I fell asleep in the chair at 8. And I woke up at 10 and went to bed. You know how you lay there? I didn't go to sleep till like 11:30. And then I woke up at like 3. I was wiped out after a day of work. So I came home, sat in the chair, and that was it. I was out, man. Rogue Line Andy texted me. I've texted back, so I was napping. He said, napping? He said, why you nap? I said, because I'm an old man. All right? I'm an older gentleman. And, really, it's just, I didn't get any sleep. And, it reminds me of a song. I didn't get any sleep last night. I did tossing and turning into. Oh, I'm not supposed to sing on the show, sorry. But yeah, so tossing and turning on the show, guys, it makes you just so weary, so weary. Patrick said, I work nights and it screws with my body so much. It does, Patrick. It's horrible, 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 horrible. And Patrick, I would think if you're doing that job now that you're doing, the traveling, traveling medical professional, I would think you get to pick the best shifts. I figure they would, give you whatever you want, right? Take daylight, right? I worked night shift. I worked the midnight shift when I was younger, much younger, at a convenience store. And very unsafe job. I was the only one in the store. I did it for 2 different companies. And I worked at the store. I went in at 11 and I got it off at like 7 in the morning. And you're in there by yourself. You got to stock the milk. You got to mop all the floors. You got to restock all the shelves. You're the guy that does it all. And you got to work with customers. Customers, you say? Yeah, there's people that come in the middle of the night for no apparent reason. All they should be home in bed. Ding, ding, the bell rings. You have to run up and ring them out, Very, very unsafe, guys. You could be back in that cooler and somebody could walk in the front door and just rob the register, right? Take the register if they want it. But Panzer says, still tons of salt on the roads here in Connecticut. We have not had a lot of salt this year, because we have not had a lot of snow. We had a couple icy mornings, but a little bit of rain knocked that salt. There's no salt on our roads at all here in Pennsylvania, at least in southwestern PA, and it's been pretty darn nice. So you can definitely get the bikes out and go riding and don't have to worry about it. Pinks Adventure said, I haven't worked night shift for over 30 years. I don't miss it one bit. I don't miss it either. Exactly. I can't complain. More dollars for motorcycle mods, Patrick says. Patrick, and that's the way it is, right? We could talk about that all day long. Matter of fact, Ty just had a video come out, and I told Miss HDR, I said, and Ty bought this brand new, beautiful anniversary edition motorcycle. And I said, hun, before he picked it up, he had all this modifications done. She goes, it figures. It figures. That's what men do. They buy a motorcycle and they got to change the pipes. They got to change the seat. They got to change the handlebars. They got to, put heated grips on. She said, "Can't you guys ever just buy a motorcycle and just drive it until it falls apart?" And I said, "No, no, 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 no. You can't do that. You can't do that. Especially if you're a motive vlogger, right? No, 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 no. You can't do that. You got to do mods, right? Mods are important. Mods are what makes it your own, your very own." Um, I was watching a couple small clips there that um, Bodine 52 put on his new channel, which is a ADV channel. He's kind of putting together. So and he has some small clips on it, so you can find it very easily. I hope that you do check it out. But he put one on there. He had a list, because he bought the new uh, KLR 650, and he has a list of like what he has to change, and that's just having a motorcycle, right? You guys seen I did a stage 1 upgrade, and if you haven't seen that video, go over to Jack's Rides. That's Jack's Rides. That's my ADV channel, okay? My adventure channel for my Royal Enfield Himalayan. So I did the first video I put up Monday for the stage 1 upgrade I did on it. And it just lit that bike up. Man, that bike is like it just runs so much smoother and so much better. Even the engine's quieted down. And people say that's kind of weird. How would that be? But with that high flow air cleaner and with the new exhaust on it, whew, she really rips it up now, man. I'm pretty impressed. So the next video is coming out Monday. You'll see me installing the exhaust. It is a longer video. It's 27 minutes. But working with Rogueline Andy, he said my install videos absolutely sucked because I didn't show anything. So this video, I take you through every step. But what I did, guys, and if you guys are YouTubers, this is something you want to think about. Yeah, you're right, Smarty Cowboy. You got to make it your own. Harley 103 said, if you explain why about mods, they can't understand. Anyhow, you're right. Harley 103, you're right. That's exactly right. HDR, there's some biker shops out your way. Rough Cut Tavern. Guys, Excellent Adventures. Mike, if you've been to those, I live like 5 or 10 minutes from both of those. Rough Cut and you talked about Rough Cut and the Bullpen. I go to Bullpen bike days when they have them on Sundays. Myself and my wife will go down and have some food, check out the motorcycles. So, man, I hope you have an Instagram account. Hit me up on Instagram. It sounds like you live very close to me, and I'm sure we can get some rides in together. That would be excellent. When we go on adventure riding, Roguelite Andy said. Roguelite Andy, you couldn't keep up with me where I go. You couldn't do it. That's a challenge. Roguelite Andy in Pennsylvania is the exact same person as $1 Million Bogan in Australia. Roguelite Andy will take his Harley-Davidson full dresser anywhere that $1 Million Bogan would take his Road King, and same kind of mentality. So that's pretty crazy. Be the right P is laugh out loud. Sunday bike. Yeah, it's called the bike day at Bullpen. They don't have a bike night. They got a bike day. It starts at like, I don't know, usually 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Motorcycles start showing up. And they're usually mostly out of there by 6, maybe 7 at the Bullpen. So Rough Cut is not actually a biker destination. There seems to get a lot of motorcycles there because it's on the main drag. And people seem to stop there. And they have great food. Rough Cut has really good food. But we live close enough. Sometimes we call for takeout. Okay. And or as they say over across the sea there, what do they call it? They call for takeaway. Okay. So you call and you get an order to take away. That makes sense, right? We call it take out, but they call it take away. They're taking it away, whatever. But yeah, we call a lot down there. Their burgers are absolutely amazing. Yeah, Paul says $1 Million HDR. I don't know about. I'm not that kind of rider. I can't ride my full dresser in places these guys take them, man. Virgo said, I could follow you on any road with the dresser. And Be the Rider PA said that too. And I'm sure you can. I'm sure you wouldn't. But myself and Be the Rider PA that day, and Ty from Tennessee and Bob Nelson, when we were riding this road and it said the road ends and gravel road begins, we thought that would mean maybe 15, 20 feet. We didn't think that would mean 6 miles of gravel that Be the Rider PA took us on all of us having full touring bikes at that time. And Absolutely crazy. The video is up on my YouTube channel. Ty has an excellent one in his channel. It is so funny. You will sit there and laugh and roll and just fall on the floor. The reason I say that is he's pointing out things that I'm doing in front of him. He's saying, "Boy, that HDR is a really qualified rider." At the same time, I'm on the Senna with Be the Rider PA going, "Oh hell, oh no, oh just careful, careful, careful. Watch this bend." Ty couldn't hear us because his Senna died. So, but he was pointing out that I was doing a good job, and I appreciate that, but I was white knuckling it. So when you have them big bikes on gravel, when you're going up over top of a mountain, a little scary, a little bit scary for sure. Morning Dawn on the Run. Nice to see you in there this morning. Lots of fun, great story to tell. Ty, you're right. That's what it came down to. Have to go with HDR. Give him hell yeah. I did. I gave him. I said, "Didn't you watch your GPS?" He said, "I'm watching my GPS." I said, "Didn't you know this was gravel?" He said, "It doesn't say gravel roads on a GPS. It just has a direction." Watch Itchy Boots' latest video. If you guys don't watch Itchy Boots or know who she is, right now it's a female. She's Itchy Boots is a female. She's like 35 years old. She's from the Netherlands, and you guys probably all watch her, right? Even my wife, like we have her in our lineup now as a sitcom, where my wife will come in, we'll sit, and we'll have drinks and we'll watch Itchy Boots ride. And she did 500 or 600 kilometers. Guys, it was in the middle of nowhere. Like she had to carry extra fuel because she knew she wouldn't make it. This girl is either batshit crazy, okay, or I know she's an amazing rider, but she just has so much confidence in her motorcycle. You know, I don't doubt my riding abilities. I do doubt the motorcycle might break down sometime. That's what I would worry about. But she just goes, man. Whoop, see you later. She's on the road, right? She's out there moving along. So that's the way it works out for you. But adventures always went past and they never stopped. But they are always packed. Um, Big Mike's adventure. Yeah, Big Mike's excellent. Yeah, you're right. Um, have a good one. I'm out working Saturday. Sucks, but I talk motorcycles all day. And be the right here, that's a great thing to do. I told him maybe I'll do that as a summer job this year. Go out to the Harley dealer and sell motorcycles. Did you guys ever notice motorcycle people that work at Harley dealers, they don't get to ride? And it's kind of interesting. Harley dealers, they want you there every day when it's nice because you're selling motorcycles, right? It kind of makes sense. Um, but anyway, so have a good day, man. Enjoy your day there for sure. And take care of yourself. Itchy Boots rocks, Chuck says. Good morning, Chuck. And she has so much information about the area she rides through. She does. And guys, this current one, Miss Story's like, why? Why would you ride through a minefield? Like she goes, well, there's like hundreds of miles of mines on the left and hundreds of miles of landmines on the right. And you have to stay in between these dirt pillars because that's the road. There's no landmines on the road. You got to be careful. Dudes, I would blow myself up. I'd be, boom, there goes HDR, whoop, right up to the heavens. Well, we hope. Anyway, but so yeah, that's absolutely crazy there for sure. Go sell some scooters. Yeah. Hopefully he's going to make some sales today. You know, Dawn on the Run said having pancakes, bacon, and of course coffee. Guys, we always got to have coffee there in the mornings, right? Okay, let's talk shop. Have any of you out there seen, and I got the pictures right away the other night when they were leaked. Harley-Davidson is coming out with a new Road Glide and a new Street Glide. They leaked. They're pictures. They're on the internet. It has to be true. Can't be photoshopped. Guys, did anybody see that Road Glide? The ugly, crappy. Basically, I'm going to say it straight out to you because I don't hold much back. Just a shit-looking front end on this Road Glide. They have it tilted down. They got the lights coming all the way around the side of the fairing now. Like they kind of wrap, okay? That's for all of you people out there saying, if you ride a Road Glide, the lights don't turn around the bend. Well, now they got them wrapped around the fairing, so that way when you're going, it'll light up the sides of the motorcycle and the front. Now everybody will buy a Road Glide. And then they have a Street Glide that, man, oh man, it looked exactly like an Indian front end. So that guy doing the Photoshop didn't do too good of a job. because he did take the little Indian logo off the front, thank goodness, but it looked like an Indian motorcycle. It didn't look like a Harley Davidson. So, have you guys seen those photos that leaked? I mean, it's apparently at the factory. They apparently have it up on a rack, and the guy's putting it together. But that would be the ugliest fairing in the world. If Harley did that, the Road Glide sells. Let's just say this: everybody would be buying Street Glides again because that's the ugliest Road Glide fairing I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, so there is some other ones I don't like. I can't say they're ugly, but I don't like anything before the Mount Rushmore package came out. I don't like those fairings because I felt that they were kind of more squared off and kind of tilted a little bit more. But I do like the kind of Road Glide fairings that we have today. I think they're excellent. I think it's perfect, right? Um, Toby said, if the light setup on these possible HD designs is true, I think I got to see it in person or to appreciate it. I'm betting the pictures don't do it justice. And I'm betting, you heard it here first, right? I'm betting 100% that those are just bogus pictures. That's not a design, right? If they would have done that, guys, they would have put that on the bike that Ty bought, the 120th anniversary edition. They would have made it special and they would have introduced it on that motorcycle. Think a little bit, right? They wouldn't just bring it out mid year and be like, oh, wow, I'm so glad all you guys bought those 120th anniversary editions. Huh? Hey, look, we got a new fairing. And they'd be like, oh, man, why did I buy that? I could have had that new bike. They're not going to do that. So is this maybe it's a prototype and somebody's looking at it going, hey, maybe in a couple years we can change it. But I think it's all Photoshop stuff. I really don't think it's real. So, um, Bronco Rod says he's still looking and finalizing a house. We'll move in a couple weeks. That's good. So, HDR, will you be pre ordering tomorrow? Paul said. No, I am officially, well, as much as I can say right this moment, um, I, my Road Glide is staying. You guys know she's almost mine. And, every time I go down and look at the bike and it smiles at me, and I think, she knows this is her home, and I just can't let her go, right? No, Paul, if we ever buy another motorcycle, a third motorcycle, we've been talking lately, myself and Miss HDR, she's not too happy with the idea, but, and I had a plan on buying another motorcycle, but if we do, Paul, it's going to have to be the 2014 Red Indian motorcycle, the Indian Chieftain with the red fringe. I mean, with the brown fringe, the brown seats. Um, that's just a bike that Mrs. HDR kind of wants in the garage. Um, and with that said, then I don't have to sell the other two motorcycles. I'll just keep those, right? But it's very hard to find that bike around here. I haven't found it anywhere. I got a couple people looking, and it's not intimate. It's not something we want to do tomorrow by any means. I mean, I got two bikes in the garage now, and you guys know I'm currently upgrading the Himalayan. I'm currently working on stage one or stage two on the Road Glide. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing with that yet. I mean, it has plenty of power. It's a great, great motorcycle. And, if anything else, I'd like to do at least a stage one on it this year. Just to kind of open it up, get the head pipe off of it, get the catalytic converter out of it. And I would love to do that. I want to put a high flow breather on it, right? The high flow breather. I already have the slip on. So, and the tuner, I can't remember the name of the tuner that my independent guy told me that we're going to be using. It's not the FP3. He said those are junk. He said don't buy that, and it's not the is it SNS? Is that it, guys? Yeah, no, the Screaming Eagle. He says not the Screaming Eagle tuner. It's a tuner that he recommends. He programs it, and he absolutely loves this tuner and swears by it. So I'll be hitting him up very soon here when I can get the bike down to him to see what the prices are going to be this year, and drop the bike off so he can do the work for me. But with those two things in the works, I really don't need to buy a new motorcycle right. That's just not in the wheelhouse. But anyway, it's always nice to think about a new bike, right? That's what we do. Wise choice, Paul said. I appreciate that, Paul. And I know you're an Indian owner and you love your Indian motorcycle. But that would give me three brands in the garage, and I think that's what's important because it shows that I'm not a brand snob, right? I don't have to just have one type of motorcycle. And if you do, that's fine. That's your prerogative. If you like one company and you swear by them, you know, um, just like I swear by AIM toothpaste, right? AIM toothpaste is the cheapest toothpaste you could buy in the world. I've been using it since I was a kid. But when I go to the dentist, I don't have any plaque. So I swear by the product and I'm not going to ever change, right? And so I am kind of brand snobby on toothpaste. But on motorcycles, I like to have different ones in the garage just to get different looks when you're riding down the road, right? You go down the road in that Indian with that brown fringe moving along, man. We went to a bike show one day and there was all these Harleys and there was a red Indian. Matter of fact, our friend owns it. That's where Mrs. HDR seen it and fell in love with this bike. He found it. Some guy was selling it on Craigslist or something. He went to look at it and he bought it immediately because it was a great deal. He had it there, and everybody was flocking around this red Indian motorcycle with this brown fringe. They really, really loved it. Okay, so that was awesome to see that happening. But and not that I buy it to show it, but anyway. Um, let's see. I did a video a long time ago about brand loyalty. Patrick said, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check out your video on that." We had three brands for many years and down to two brands now in the last 6 years, Chuck says. Let's see, Rogue Andy, Toby Northern. Turn up the volume for the mid-show commercials. Let's go. Uh-oh. Mid-show commercials, my producer said. Okay, let's hold on here a second.
Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to Coffee with HDR. Unfortunately, HDR is not able to host the show this weekend. So, this Saturday, he doesn't know it yet, but I'm hijacking the show, and we're going to be, showing you guys how we got to where we are and what we're doing with the road lighting, giving you guys some tips and tricks. So, we won't be in the HDR studio today. We'll be in the Road Glide Andy garage.
It was very interesting. No sound on the commercial. What happened to it? Let's see here. See what's wrong with it. Everything looks normal. Let's see up here. Advanced properties. Let's see. Monitor only. Oh, wait. Let's see here.
Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to Coffee with HDR. Unfortunately, HDR is not able to host the show this weekend. So, this Saturday, he doesn't know it yet, but I'm hijacking the show, and we're going to be, showing you guys how we got to where we are and what we're doing with the road gliding, giving you guys some tips and tricks. So, we won't be in the HDR studio today. We'll be in the Road Glide Andy garage.
All right, sorry about that. I didn't realize the setting on that thing, on that actual video, was set to monitor only with no output. Now, I don't know why that happened. I have a standard video clip setting on my, I use OBS to stream. OBS is a free streaming software, and I use that and stream it through YouTube, basically YouTube Live, right? Because YouTube has all your streaming settings, so I actually use OBS. And anyway, there's a standard clip in there. All I do is change people's clips. I don't know how that got changed to no output, but sorry about that. Um, anyway, as I was saying, you can see that Road Glide Andy is having a lot of trouble there this morning. Anonymous Biker, good morning. Did you buy the motorcycle yet? Anonymous Biker, I need to know immediately when you buy that motorcycle. Hit me up on Instagram, say, I bought it. And you're going to be so excited. So excited. The hardest thing is choosing the proper color, right? That's the hardest thing you got to do is choose the proper color. But anyway, let's go into that for 1 second. How many of you guys out there actually are Insta or GoPro 360 users? This is getting to be the thing. This is going to be the norm. It's like now we have to have 360 video. For the longest time, it was drone video until we found out that the FAA is saying that you have to have a license if you're monetized. If you're making money off your drone footage, you have to be FAA certified, okay, to put a clip of your drone in there. Now drones have to be beaconed and the controller has to be beaconed. So they have to see where you're flying from, where you're standing, as well as where that drone is in the air, which is good for safety. Don't get me wrong. I used to fly airplanes. It's good for safety and it makes perfectly good sense to me, right? So I don't think they're infringing on our freedoms at all. They just want you to understand the flight rules, the true flight rules to fly an unmanned aircraft. Because let's face it, I've watched guys, Bronco Ride, who's very, very good flying drones. He can put his drone so far away, I don't even hear it anymore. And he's just watching on his camera like this, he's watching. And he's moving the control. Like, I like to see my drone, and I mean, you're supposed to have it in visual sight anyway, but but that's a new law. When Bronco Rod did that, that wasn't the law. You could fly it anywhere as long as you can follow it, and it would listen to the controller. So the drones were a big, big, big hit. Well, now it's 360, guys. How many people do 360 cameras? Patrick says 360 video as a consumer makes my tiny brain spin. Toby says I have both Insta360 and one RS and GoPro Hero 4. I am tired of the GoPros overheating and shutting down. Yeah, I use a GoPro 7 and I have not. Yeah, maybe I have had that trouble. The GoPro 7 sometimes what it does is, like, I use the controller. You guys see it here every now and then. Where's it at? Right here. So I use the wireless controller on my GoPro. Okay. I really love this thing because it shows me how much time I've been recording so my video doesn't get real lengthy. But sometimes I'll shut that off and I think the GoPro stopped recording and it just locks up to the point you have to stop and take the battery out of it. So I see what you mean, Toby, about that. I think maybe mine is overheating. I don't know. Roguelite Andy, no, I know he now has. That's what that was shot in, Insta360. I use a 360, Anonymous Biker says, but it's way too much work for a 5-second clip. I agree from what I've been hearing. I don't have a 360 camera. Pink's Adventure said probably won't get one. Depending on the creators, some of the 360 video kind of gives me vertigo. I get that for sure. Ty from Tennessee said, I add some 360 from time to time. It adds a nice change instead of normal GoPro views that we all use on that front helmet view. Bronco Ride also says I use a Polaroid, so he has a Polaroid also. And I know he uses a couple GoPros. Anonymous Biker said, new SD card reformatting, new battery. Nope, it still locks up. Total crap. Anonymous Biker, I think you're talking about the GoPro, if I'm not mistaken. Smarty Cowboy said, that settles it, getting a 360 camera instead of a drone. If you're on the fence between a 360 camera and a drone, buy the 360 camera. And I'm telling you, because the drone, you have to, if you're monetized, if you're worried about making any money on your channel, you have to have a Part 107 FAA license to fly. Okay. I told you guys, I flew private Piper Cubs years ago, back in my 20s. I was taking lessons and I flew Piper Cubs. So I have a lot of the ground stuff already under control. I understand that. But you have to be able to read a navigational map. You have to know airspace. You have to understand airspace. You have to understand flight ceilings, flight rules, and to take that test, right? Now you can do it. Anybody, I told my kids this in school the other day. Anyone can learn anything if you want to. Guys, I'm almost 60 years old and I'm back in college and I'm carrying a 4.0 average, right? It's not that it's even hard work. It's that I want to learn and I have a duty. I'm paying money for college. I have a duty to study. But there's a lot of companies online. Now watch out for the BS companies that will teach you everything you need to know to pass that Part 107. But you have to dedicate your time to that. And I started it because I want to take the 107, but I have not taken it yet. Now there's also a recreational license. You can get a recreational license. It takes you about 10 minutes. Go to faa.gov, I think it is, and look on there for unmanned drone recreational license. Now you need that to fly anytime, because a game warden can come over, a police officer can come over and say, "What are you doing?" You're saying, "Flying my drone." Okay, and if he's up to the current standards, current laws, he's going to ask you, "Do you have your, your recreational certificate?" It's like you watch a 10-minute video. I'm telling you, you take like a 5 or 10 question test. It's so easy. Like my cat can pass it, so you can do it. But if you're on the fence between 360 and drone, buy the 360. Now, with that said, I talked to a lot of people. Do I need a 107 if I fly it in my garage? Real glad Andy said, no, you don't. You're fine. You can fly it in your garage all you want. One thing to remember is if you use a cage around your GoPro, that doesn't help. Pete said, okay, that's something to remember. My house is in a no-fly zone because of Smyrna, of the Smyrna airport. There you go. So you're really not going to have a whole lot of fun with the drone anyway. Um, Minimoto, good morning. I don't know. I use a Mini 2 like a toy. Do you want to start riding long enough to set it up? You're right, Minimoto, and that's some things to think about. Pink's Adventure says, my drone is less than 250 kilogram weight limit, so no license is needed. It's as a toy and can fly recreational. Be careful with that, Pink's Adventures, because you're reading that wrong. That means your drone does not have to be registered. It doesn't have to be registered. Be careful. If you're flying a drone and it goes a certain height with a camera on it, reread the laws, buddy. Okay, and I'm respectfully. Okay, I've studied a lot of this stuff. You guys know that a drone was gifted to me by Bronco Ride, and it was one of the most amazing packages I ever received out of the blue. Mrs. HDR knew about it. Bodine knew about it. Like everybody at this house that we were visiting in Tennessee knew that this was going to go down after we got back, and I didn't know, and I was shocked and overjoyed. But right away, as soon as I got it, first I learned how to control it and fly it, and then I started digging into what do I need to do that I could, use this video, and I was very um, uh, enlightened to know this stuff, right? But so if it's under 250 grams, it doesn't have to be registered. Like ours has to be registered to the person, okay? But it does. You still have to follow the regulations for the licenses. So check it. Now I don't know in Canada, Pinks. I have no idea in Canada. This is in the United States. Okay, so it could be totally different. Gunsrod says drone catch on YouTube as many classes very important. Yeah, you're right. There's so many good classes on YouTube, and there's a lot of good places you can pay that will guarantee you passment for your licenses. Um, for sure, it's really really good stuff. So, but yeah, check that out for sure. Toby Norris, folks, we did a workshop on drones. Licensing to operate and drone is different, but not entirely separate from using your drone footage to make money on your channel or other methods. Toby, they did. They did a very, very good video on it. And I don't know, do you guys have a YouTube channel where those videos are populated? I know you do them over Facebook, and I don't know if Facebook keeps those or Facebook is one of the weirdest social media platforms that I don't even pay attention to anymore. Because 98% of it's all commercial crap that I don't want to see. But what I have found when I was on Facebook is I see something in the morning and I go to show Miss HR in the afternoon and it's gone. Like, where did it go? Right. So hopefully you guys have a YouTube channel that you're posting all these support biker videos on and support vlogger videos. And I think that would be excellent for you to do that because what you're doing is a very, very good thing. You're doing it for free. I applaud Toby Northern and Windroad Therapy for putting those together. I don't watch them all. I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I mean, some of the topics maybe don't interest me, and that's fine. But the stuff that does interest me, I'll be sitting on the couch or on the chair watching TV with Miss HR and watching their live show because things interest me. And they learn so much. They bring really good guests on. Not me, but they, I mean, I'm going to be on their next one, I guess. I'm just joking. But they have really, really good people that they scope out that know what they're talking about. And it's really good stuff. So check them out. They did a good one on drones and it's worth seeing. We do not have a YouTube channel, support bikers, content creators, but we do use the channel for the live stream. Once it's done, the video goes up on the Facebook group. Okay, so on the Facebook group. So here's what I would ask you, Toby. So if I get on the support bikers Facebook group, is there a thing I just click on that says videos? I don't know how that works, but so I can just go to your video library. That's what I'd like to see happen because those are excellent, man. These two put a lot of time and effort into the questions. You know, they get the information out of the people, their guests, and I think that's wonderful. And they tell you a lot of really, really good stuff, guys. And it's just so worth it. You know, if you're in this business of moto vlogging, um, you know, I just can't say enough. And there's a moto vlogger I watched the other day. Oh, what the heck's his name? Crap. I don't know. Anyway, he was talking about, you know, moto vlogging in 2014 versus today, you know. And this guy in 2014, I guess he's a famous moto vlogger. I don't watch him. He rides a crotch rocket, but he said that one day all moto vloggers on YouTube will be making an earnable living and not have to work anymore. Is what he said. Now that was his thought in 2014, and then look today. So much has changed over the time, and you know, I still love moto vlogging, and I love watching your moto vlogs. I think it's excellent to the biggest thing about moto vlogging that I told him in the comment was, you know, I don't do it to make a living, right? We would all love that. I mean, come on, face it. We would love to just ride our motorcycles and get paid a livable wage to do so, right? Then you're doing something you love and you're getting paid for it. But on the contrary to that, on the other side of that, right, I love doing it for you guys. I love doing it for the community that we have here. We can all sit back like Saturday mornings and chit chat. That's why I do these live streams. I don't do these to make a living on this stuff. I do this because I like to do it and I like to BS. I'm a lifelong BSer, guys. I could talk all day. This show's an hour long. I could probably sit here for 3 hours and ramble on. Um, Bodine once asked me, he said he could never carry a show by himself. He said, I do it quite well because I'm a natural gifted BSer. Mrs. HDR will tell you that. I could talk and talk and talk and talk all day. It's probably where my daughter gets it from. My daughter calls me up and she can talk and talk and talk all day, right? So that's a good thing, though. But anyway, Patrick, have to go, buddy. Take care of yourself up there, man, in Massachusetts. Took me forever to learn how to say that. I didn't learn how to say Massachusetts until I visited the state and had to learn how to pronounce it properly. So, but take care of yourself there for sure. Members can use guides tab and all the videos are there. Okay, good. Thank you, Toby, for that. Earlier, said do a very good, provide some very good information. Toby is very good with questions. They are. Toby and Windroad Therapy, they do an excellent job with those questions. And I'm sure they'll have a bunch for me, and I hope that I can do justice about live streaming. You know, live streaming isn't, it is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't, right? Live streaming is, and some live streamers out there I know, they, you know, they set their live stream up and they get 500-600 viewers, and the people in the chat rooms go boop, 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 boop. You know, I like our group. I don't have a problem with our group. And this show gets watched so much after it's produced, right? There's people around the world watching this show when they can't be live. Maybe they're in bed right now. Maybe they're at work and they can't watch it. So people watch this show a lot after the fact. And that's nice. It's getting a lot of, you know, a lot of ground there. I like it this way. We can follow the chat room. If I look down, I'm not too far behind where you guys are talking. And I don't have a big, super big delay on this channel um, to the point where um, I'm not too far behind what you're chatting, is what I'm saying. So, but excellent stuff there for sure. We're on Social Security, so we work part time to support our riding habit. Chuck says that's a good thing to do. They actually prepare me not too much. Uh, when and where is VAM 23? Guys, can anybody remember the dates for VAM? Oh, there it is. VAM is in Tazewell. It is July 13th through the 15th. I recommend if you're going to VAM this year, you should probably have your reservations now. Okay? I wouldn't wait too long because you're not going to get a room and you're going to be sleeping beside your motorcycle with a little shelter, a little lean-to or something. So that's just my thoughts on it. Speaking of the show, when is the next fireside chat? I know Bronco Ride is still moving, and that's not easy. Just curious. We've talked back and forth about the fireside chat, and you know, if we can get together once every few months, we're going to be happy with that. It's never ever going to be a weekly show again. It's just, you know, the three of us have uh, been so involved with so much stuff. It's nice to chat, but we both, all three, also talked about. Remember when we were doing guests? It was a lot of work, and Bronco Ride will attest to that. I see Bob's not here this morning, but It was a lot of work to get your guests lined up. You guys know, right? Toby, you're doing it now with your support biker show. It was a lot of work for us to get the guests, and then we get them Friday night or so or Saturday morning, and we would do a test with them, and their internet would absolutely suck. And now all of a sudden you don't have a guest, But and then you had to line the questions up, and guys, I was doing grades at 5 o'clock this morning. I don't have any more time to write questions, right? This show and the fireside chat we did the other couple weeks ago, it flowed because we there wasn't. I know Bob did put a little effort into questions and stuff, but there's not as much planning time. I could write those questions on my phone right at lunch. Um, this particular show, as you guys all know too well, there's no prior planning for this, right? Outside of coming up with the main title of what the main thing I'm going to be thinking about, which this week was the Harley Davidson and the fake pictures that came out. But so that's kind of where the fireside chat is. We're all three very glad. We're very humbled that everybody enjoyed that show. That show started at the midst of COVID, and partly why it started was Mrs. HDR came to me one day and she said, "You guys should do that streaming thing like you and your son used to do." Because myself and my son used to play music on Saturday nights live on the internet. We would sit, we would talk, and we'd laugh, and we'd play music for people, and they would chat like this. And we did that for probably a year. And I said, well, that's a good thought. And I talked to Bob about it, and then we talked to Colin, and the three of us were friends. And Bob was locked down during COVID. He wasn't allowed to ride a motorcycle in Michigan. The governor came out and said, it was illegal to ride your motorcycle because you might wreck. She didn't say anything about the cars, of course, but motorcycles are so much more, so many more motorcycles wrecked than cars. Bullshit, right? There's more car wrecks every day than there are motorcycle wrecks. Thank God, but there's more car wrecks every day. Just like people say, I won't fly, but they get in a damn car every day and they go to work. There's more car wrecks than there are airplane crashes. Okay, just saying. Um, but the fireside chat was born out of COVID, and it had a really, really great run there. So, but you never know what direction to take it in. I think that's probably what happened, Toby. So I hope I kind of spread that out there for you. The biggest thing right now, you're right. Colin is moving. We have to give our friend time to get settled again, get his feet back on the ground. He has a lot going on. When you're moving with your company, and he has a lot of stuff he's doing with there, as well as looking for a home. So, um, but it will come back periodically, I guess. And I'm sure we'll get together some Sunday nights. We moved it till 7 p.m. instead of 6, so we'll see how it goes. But it's very much up to the other guys, and the three of us do talk a lot. So, um, anyway, Bikes Mike's Big Mike's Excellent Adventure says I have a DJI Maverick Zoom, but I was flying at Butler County Fairground next to the airport. I know where that's at, and unaware of that you should shut it off and take it. Fell straight down to the ground and demolished. Oh man, that's not cool at all, man. It's bad to lose your drone for sure. You might want to have drone insurance. Anthony learned all about drone insurance. He could tell you about drone insurance. I was just typing that, laugh out loud. Behind the scenes work. Okay, so Toby says that. I was just typing laugh out loud. Behind the scene works to get guests and arrange the agenda, topics, and questions. And I totally get it. You're right. It's totally a lot of time. Um, in my 9 months, all of you know that I teach in a school. So my 9 months, guys, I mean, I am like jammed up, man. I am writing lessons. I got a bigger class now. I got gifted all 4 years of students now because my other teacher worked with me retired. And there's no plans of hiring another teacher. So it's just going to be me with like 40, well, let's say 35 kids in the morning and like 30 kids in the afternoon by myself. So with that amount of responsibility, I have time for this, and I have time to motive log because I can motive log when I take the motorcycles and ride to work. Okay, so that's nice. My work is 25 minutes from my house. It's all I can ride all back roads, and I can make motive logs that way. So that's not a big strain on my day. It's part of my day. I can make it part of my day. So I get it. I hope you guys understand that for sure, and I know Toby gets it. Um, so no more regularity for the show. Now producer talking. We need to look at getting Fireside Chat the reunion series. There you go. Something like the reunion or something. Yeah, that's cool for sure. Guys are busy. I'm busy. Somebody said that the other day. When somebody says they're busy, we're busy. Are they saying it to make themselves sound more important? I mean, I don't know. I would rather use the phrase "I'm stressed," right? I think that's purely the way to say that. I'm just stressed. I bought a book. I showed you guys on how to become hyper focused, and I'm about halfway through it, and it's helping, somewhat. It's teaching you how to prioritize stuff in your life, and I think that's critical. But I have so much going on in my life. That's the problem, right? So you guys know I love photography. I have like 10 YouTube channels. I'm trying to maintain 4 of them right now. The one YouTube channel I was going to let go is like gaining subscribers every day. And guys, I haven't posted anything on it for months. So it's just like new subscriber, new subscriber. I'm like, why? Why are they coming? Right? I don't even know what to do with them. So that channel is called Photoshop Elements TV, and it's growing every day. And I don't post much on there. I was also introduced or asked to teach a class online. So now I'm building, I'm going to have to build almost 20 hours worth of online content videos for a class on Windows Server. So I'm working on that. I mean, there's just so much I have going on. It's ridiculous. And some days I sit back and say, is any of it worth it? Is anything really worth it other than Saturday morning coffee with HDR? Probably not. This is probably the most important thing I do in the week, right? Nah, that's not true. But you guys get it. Anyway, Ricky KM, good morning. Hey, a little late there, but we're glad you're on board there. I have to rewind back from the beginning. Yeah, you might want to catch the beginning of it there. We had a nice recap of things. Busy can also mean poor planning, Pete's 1800 said. And you're right, Pete. That's exactly right. That's why I bought the Hyper Focus book. I was watching, actually, believe it or not, I was watching YouTube videos on becoming um, better with time management. The biggest thing with time management, I never realized this, don't have a to do list, right? A to do list is no more than a maybe do later list because you keep moving your items, rearranging them, moving them down. You don't want a to do list. Always work out of your calendar. So when my bosses send me something and say we need something by Friday, okay, they need a certain paper turned in on Friday. I'll go and I'll put that in my calendar. Say it's Monday. I'll put it in my calendar on Wednesday. Okay. Don't put it in on Friday when it's due. I put it on Wednesday. That way, Wednesday, I know that I'm going to block out an hour and do that paper for my bosses. I submit it, and come Friday, I don't have to worry about it. It's not in. It's in. Okay. Work out of your calendar. Don't work out of a to-do list. That's going to kill you every time. So because it's a to not do list, and you see things. There's so much on there. You're like blows your mind. So now what I do is I put 3 top priority items for the day. I write them on a piece of paper and hang them on a refrigerator downstairs. Miss HR woke up one morning. She said, what is that? I said, that's 3 things I'm positively doing this weekend. 3 things. The top 3 things I'm going to do. And she said, really? And you know what happened? I did all 3 of them. So prioritize your day. Write a little list. Only pick out the top 3 biggest things you got to really complete. And then if you do something else, it's a bonus, right? If you don't, so what? Do it tomorrow. So I hope that helps. I don't know. Maybe. Don't tell my wife. She really likes the tree. Roglide Andy said, oh, he cut a tree down. Roglide Andy needed firewood last night, so I put down a tree in the front yard. Well, that was nice of you. Um, Toby Northern said, imagine all of our military folks when they're reassigned to new locations. It's usually 3 to 4 years. Now they have to move 4 more times in a decade. That's a lot. You're right, Toby, and that is a lot of work. That is actually, and unfortunately, why a lot of military people end up getting divorced, right? But what's even harder than that, we have military kids in our school right now. Like say a senior, say somebody that's 17, 18 years old, and I ask these people when they come in, well, what school did you come from? Well, they said, which one? And I said, what do you mean? They said, well, my dad's in the military, and since they were born, they moved like 14. They've been in maybe 10 to 14 different schools. So it's hard on the kids. It's just really, really hard on the kids. Our kids were very fortunate here because they went to the same school for all, uh, actually, I call it 13 years, right? Kindergarten through senior high or being a senior, 12th grade. So 13 years, but they all went to the same school and they never had to move around. Same with me growing up. I never had to move, so I don't know what that means or what that's like. Sounds like you stretched out, no stressed out. Yeah, stitched out, stressed out. Um, a positive can be military kids hopefully become resilient with moving so much. Yeah, good point, Toby. Good point. I mean, I've always wanted to move down south. I've always said that. I told Miss HDR if she dies before me, I'll probably move to Hawaii for a couple years. Mike Killy 7 lived there for like 5 years and told me don't do it. But sometimes I have to experience things for myself to learn why shouldn't I do that. I'd like to live in Hawaii for at least 2 years and then move back to the States. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? You know what right now is happening, right? We're talking, but you won't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So, but everybody, thank you so much for being here, guys. I truly appreciate it very, very much. I'm always very humbled that you joined me here on Saturday morning, just to talk and shoot the crap here and see what's going on there. You will go nuts in Hawaii, Pete's 1800. That's what Miss HR said. She goes, when we take a road trip in Hawaii, she said, it's going to be like 8 miles and we'll fall into the ocean. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good point, right? Probably a good point. But so maybe they need to build bridges in Hawaii and connect all the islands. And now that would be awesome if they could do that. So who knows? But guys, thank you very much for joining me. I do really appreciate it. And I love talking to you on Saturday mornings. It's a great way to start my weekend. And, I'll talk to you next Saturday morning. Don't miss on Jack's Rides. Jack's Rides. Remember, that's my other YouTube channel for my adventure bike. Monday for the second part of the stage 1 upgrade. And I'm not saying because I shot anything, but it's a really good detailed video. Even if you don't own a Himalayan, just watch it because I think it resonates to you can do anything on your motorcycle if you have a few tools, a little bit of knowledge, and maybe a couple YouTube videos to watch, right? To be sure that you know what you're doing, what proper way of doing things. So, and if anybody has any can help Road Glide Andy out with his tires, how to put them back on, he would love for you to come to his house and give him a hand because he's a little stuck. He don't know how they go back on. Thanks to Road Glide Andy for the opener and for the mid roll there. I do appreciate that. Guys, take care. And as I always tell you, each and every day when we're out there riding, ride your own ride. Be safe. I will talk to you next week. Thank you and take care. From the beautiful HDR Studios here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week. I'll see you next Saturday.